Hey everybody, this is Perch. This is a video about things that confuse me about comics. And I admit that a lot of the things that confuse me here are really kind of in relation to complaints that people often have in comics. But these complaints aren't what I hear. I guess the way to look at this is when I talk to people in comics, people who are working in comics, not the customer side, but the people who are creating comic side, there's kind of two groups of complaints that I get. And I would say these are complaints in person and then complaints online. And those complaints are almost entirely different. The complaints in person are almost always money or schedule related, meaning the money is, I'm not paid enough. I would like to be paid more. This other person is getting a page rate that's significantly more than mine. Why is that? I am not getting good money. Or why isn't this person meeting their schedule? Or why isn't this person getting back to me? I have a pitch. I haven't heard anything in a long time. What is going on? Or this creator I'm working with is perpetually late. Like something basically related to schedule. That tends to be the in-person complaints. I'm trying to think of other in-person complaints, but that is like 95% of the in-person complaints. It's money or it's timing schedule. Online, though, you get an entirely different zoo of complaints. Those complaints range from who's doing an NFT to who supports Dave Chappelle to who is a Nazi to who is on this stream or that stream. It's just an entirely different world of complaints. And what's curious about that is that in real life, meaning in person, you never hear these things, ever. Like I could say I've been on a number of calls, been a number of meetings, been with a number of people, and the topic about who's a Nazi or not just doesn't come up. And that's probably part of the reason when I do these videos and I say I don't believe in this big overarching agenda. It's because whenever you have these conversations, none of this stuff is discussed. It doesn't come up. Absolutely, it comes up online. I'm sure people are sending each other DMs talking about this crap. I'm sure. I know. And I realize that's part of the business and it's all intertwined here. It's just it's two very, very different worlds. But it gets to one of like my question or my confusion with comics is this. There's many. But one of the biggest ones is if you're seeing this with this Image Comics union business. You're seeing this, we want to be able to not let comics created by Nazis get published. We want the ability to veto those comics. And that entire statement is bizarre to me because, number one, who are these Nazis exactly? Like, who are we really talking about? Is this, like, are we talking about Warren Ellis? Because Warren Ellis was going to do the comic through Image, and then it got stopped. Eric Stevenson said, we're not going to publish it all until Warren Ellis has gone and apologized to everybody and everything. So that comic got canceled. And that seemed to spark at least some of this. But are we saying, and I'm asking this question honestly, this isn't a passive-aggressive question. When we talk about Warren Ellis, what is he again exactly? Is he a sex pest or is he a Nazi? Like, it feels like he slipped into Nazi territory somehow because now as people are talking about this Image union, I see a lot of conversation online where it's like, well, what's the problem with stopping Nazis from making comics? And my answer to that is, why are these people, if you have identified a Nazi, why is this person not, going to prison? Like, because believe it or not, and this is truthful, there are still war crime statutes that if somebody is actively out there, behaving and perpetuating kind of Nazi behavior, that person can be arrested, like actually arrested. I understand that some yokels dress up like Nazis and they do parades every now and then. Does that happen? I don't know. You see pictures on CNN every now and then. I never am quite sure where these things are coming from. But anyway, if somebody's out there actually, trying to perpetuate Nazi ideals, those people can go to jail. Like right now, that is actually not covered under freedom of speech. If you are actually trying to carry out Nazi behavior, that is a criminal offense in 50 of the 50 states, and there's questions about it being a war crime. I'm not making this up. This is truthful. So the question I have is, if you've identified a comic creator that's trying to spread Nazi propaganda, not again, this is why Warren Ellis is a good example. I don't know, like, did I miss the part in the Warren Ellis situation where there was anything to do with Nazis at all? I thought the whole deal with him was he was a sex pest. I thought that was the Warren Ellis situation. He was trying to sleep with women. Is sleeping with women Nazi behavior now? Again, I'm not asking this passive aggressively. What is going on? But if you have evidence that somebody is actually trying to perpetuate, Nazi behavior, like, call your police. Seriously, your first thought should not be, hey, I know what we should do. Let's form a union and then get voting rights so we can prevent this person's comic from being published at Image. That is the slowest, dumbest possible way to combat Nazi behavior. The better way would be go to police and say, hey, we've got somebody who's trying to distribute Nazi propaganda and doing their kind of thing. I don't know. Definitely there's statutes of being, a true. The problem here is that the definition of Nazi has grown into this giant balloon where it's all kinds of things. Apparently, Warren Ellis sex pest fits into that. Again, not my words. This isn't what I'm saying. Again, this is what you see online of complaints. But I maintain, and this is true for a lot of things, I see people talking about this Image union and the various kind of conversations going around comics, and they'll say things like, don't you think that men who rape women, don't you think they shouldn't be allowed to make comics? And my answer to that is, I don't know, but if you have evidence of a rape, I think that should be that should be prison time, jail. Like, to be honest, comics is the last thing from my mind, really. And I find this really, really weird. And when I bring this up, because I see this from time to time, and I'll respond to some people on Twitter, and it always leads to somebody getting blocked, and, well, me getting blocked, but other things. It's like, if you have evidence of a crime, go to the police. And I'm not saying that passively aggressively. I know some people will say, oh, well, why don't you just go? They mean it as a deflection. I don't mean it as a deflection. If you have evidence that somebody has committed a crime, for the love of God, go to the police. And not just the police. Spread it around anywhere you can. Not that this person is creepy, but this person committed a crime. The whole Cameron Stewart or Eddie Brazanga situation, the frustrating part of that was that people were trying to say that for, in Eddie's case, years. And everybody who said that was labeled a problem. To this day, and I contemplate this, right now in 2021, there are several people who are blocked on social media for telling the truth about Eddie being a terrible asshole. They are currently barred. Some people are blacklisted from working at DC for saying this. How? Why does that? What is even going on? I don't understand why, when somebody does something rotten, the first thought is, well, we should make sure they can't publish comics. That is not the worst thing that could happen to somebody. The worst thing that could happen to somebody is jail. And if somebody has committed a crime, they deserve jail. This is not a controversial point I'm making right now. What are you even doing? This is if of all the things that kind of need to change, I think, in comics, to shift, one of the things I would like to see changed is stop treating comics, the comic business, like it's the police. Material that is appropriate for the police should go to the police. Comics should be in the business of publishing comics and trying to make money off of it. You should not try and moral police at the comics level. You should try and moral police at the police level. If you have somebody who's committed, sexual offenses, like not heavy flirting, then get that person in jail. Get that person charged. Seriously, there may be some men right now listening to this uncomfortable with this. I don't know. But it is absurd that we make, and I really don't understand. I really do not understand why, for many, they see problems or they identify problems and they think the very first thing we should do is to keep these people from being able to publish a comic at Image, which is absurd anyway, because my God, Image, you have to put out your own money in some cases to put your book out with Image. Like the most likely scenario, if you're publishing through Image, is that you're going to break even or lose money. Seriously. Most books that get published through Image are not profitable. The people are not doing well. And if that's the scenario we're talking about here, I mean, what do you like? We need to bar these sex offenders from having a book at Image. I said sex offenders. I see. It's even happening to me. Again, if you have evidence somebody is a true Nazi, your local authorities is a place to go. If somebody's committed sexual assault, police is the place to go. If you don't trust the police, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I don't know other remedies. My point is, very far down the list should be, hey, let's keep this person from making a comic. That's absurd. What are you even doing at this point? That should be the least of your concerns. The primary concern should be get these people off. But here's the thing. I mean, I'm sounding like incredulous. I don't understand. I do understand, because what's actually going on here is these are just people that somebody doesn't like. Because unfortunately, having been around comics for long enough, what is very clear at this point is that some people can commit acts of, various just disreputable, crappy things. They can certainly do all these kind of various sexual offenses for a long time, as long as they're friendly and they're part of the crew and they're part of the party. Then nobody really cares. They can continue to harass whatever they need to do. No, but it's fine. Just whatever you want. But if you're not in the clique, if you're not in the group, now you need to be punished. But unfortunately, because we've created this double standard of some people can get away with it and some people can't get away with it, we can no longer, effectively go to the police or actually do this the right way. Instead, we're just going to kind of slide you out of the industry. And to me, that's crap. If you're doing this behavior, you shouldn't be in comics. Truly. Or you can work for a company that tolerates it. Whatever. But what is unfair is that some people get a pass, like Warren Ellis for years, and then suddenly they don't get a pass, and then they're punished. That's the part that makes me crazy. As well as this new technique of anything we don't like gets labeled a Nazi. Congratulations. I know there are definitely people out there who have these sick, terrible ideas in their heads, and those people are getting lumped in with this broad other group of anyone we don't happen to like at this particular moment. All that's doing is devaluing people who have real problems. I'm not saying everybody should skate free on this. I'm saying that we should actually come down harder on the people who are the bad people. I'm in favor of that. If somebody is doing actions that are truly bad, then let's it is a matter for the police. Seriously. I want to me, a lot of this stuff comes across like this. And this is where I always wish people would just say what they mean. And unfortunately, what most people mean is, I want to do everything I want to do with no interference. I want to believe everything I believe with no restrictions. But everyone who I disagree with should be penalized, should suffer, and should not be allowed the same freedoms. That's really what people want. It's, I want to be able to do whatever I want, and the people I don't like shouldn't. And so I'm going to point the finger and I'm going to call names and I'm going to label them all kinds of different things to try and justify what I've said. But really, it comes down to I want to do what I want to do, and the other side can't. This is how our politics work. This is how a lot of things work right now in the U.S. It is incredibly hypocritical, but nobody really matters. We've invented a lot of words around gaslighting and windmill chasing and all these. We've invented a lot of different terms now to help prop up the defense of let me just do whatever I want. And the people I disagree with, those people shouldn't be allowed to do what I want. And I would love it if a comic company could just come out and say, we want the ability to, get away with whatever we want. And anyone we disagree with is a Nazi. Just say it. Just say it like that, because that is what people mean at this point. I don't get this about comics. I think comics should clean itself up, get itself in a better state, and evolve and improve. I definitely want that. But that's not going to happen if people stop, if people cannot stop being dishonest about it. And in terms of a lot of these things that people complain about, for God's sake, police. Police is the answer. Thanks for listening.